Well, the crypto market is falling today, leaving a lot of investors wondering what is going on now. I mean, so many people are sick of it, they're tired of it. It just seems to be falling every single day, and today is no exception. People are annoyed, they're irritated, and they just want to know what is going on. Why is Granny getting kicked down the stairs? Why are my bags down 5 to 10%? What is happening? And so, what I wanted to do for you all to kind of kickstart the week is to talk a little bit about why the market is falling and what I'm doing as a result of it. And so, we do have a good bit to unpack today, so let's not waste any more time at all, and let's actually jump straight into the video. Now, looking at the market, of course, what we can see here is that, yeah, the crypto market's just ugly today. You got the top 10s getting beat up anywhere from 5 to 10%. ETH down 4.8, XRP down nearly 5%, BNB down 3%, Solana down 9%. I mean, the list goes on and on. You can just scroll through your top 50, top 100. It's just absolutely brutal. You look at crypto bubbles and it paints an even better picture for you, in which we have things like Radium, Solana, Trump, Hex, Floki, Kaya, ARB, and many more just getting destroyed. And it's interesting because it's not even just meme coins. It's not even just microcaps. I mean, it's literally just everything getting beat up right now. Now, there are a few exceptions. You have Pi, you have HBAR, and you have Tau, but I mean, they're not really holding enough weight to kind of mitigate these losses that are here. And now we're seeing these losses translated not only just to the weekly, but even back to the monthly as well, as most cryptos are down anywhere from 30 to 40% over the last 30 days, which is just absolutely brutal. Obviously, as I mentioned before, Bitcoin has been holding up strong and it is maintaining its strength, which is a very good sign from a macro perspective. But whenever we just look at anything else, it's absolutely brutal. Now, why is it down so much today, though, right? We already knew the month and the week was down. Why is crypto still falling? Why on the day are we seeing things like ADA dropping 7%? Well, I'm going to be honest with you all. I think the formula for why crypto is doing what it's doing right now is extremely simple. I think a lot of influencers, and not to talk badly about them, but just I think a lot of influencers and a lot of other creators are really making this overcomplicated. I think this is a very simple formula. Okay, let me give you the formula. Step number one is a red catalyst. So obviously, a couple of days ago, we saw the Bybit hacked, which freaked a lot of people out. $1.4 billion worth of Ethereum was stolen, leaving a lot of investors wondering what's going to happen next, right? How does this all play out? What now, right? Well, I mean, that's $1.4 billion worth of ETH. Are they going to sell it all, or how is this all going to play out? Now, of course, what that is at its core is just uncertainty. As a result of this red catalyst, we're seeing fear, we're seeing uncertainty. People are saying, actually coming out and saying that this actually was no hack. It was all a narrative to hide the biggest corruption in central exchange history involving all major exchanges in their leveraged positions. You have people coming out and saying that there's more manipulation happening between centralized exchanges right now than they've ever seen before. People are pointing out the fact that Kraken, Bybit, and there was one, Binance are all starting to send a ton of their like Solana and ETH to Wintermute. So a lot of people are speculating that something is happening behind the scenes, which is worrying them. Are they selling? Are they dumping? What's happening, right? So there's so much chaos and so much fear and uncertainty as a result of that red catalyst that it's kind of adding fuel to the fire, quite frankly. Now, in addition to all of that, the last step of the formula is quite simply high leverage. I showed you all several times the fact that over the last week or so, if you actually head over to CoinGlass and look at Bitcoin liquidations, at one given point, the liquidations that would have occurred by the time we hit $93,000 on Bitcoin was roughly $5 billion. I mean, the amount of leverage, guys, that people are on right now that were betting that this market go up was insane. At one point, it was actually balanced. We saw $5 billion worth of liquidations to the downside very closely and $5 billion worth of liquidations to the upside very closely. And I told you all, both of those are probably going to get liquidated. Don't be surprised if this market drops then pumps or pumps then drops, because when you got all that leverage just sitting right there, those lizard people are licking their lips. They want to take that. That's lizard food for them, right? And so when you mix all of these things together, again, just to recap, a big red catalyst like the hack that we saw a couple of days ago, people then developing a bunch of fear and uncertainty revolving that hack, and then you mix in the fact that people are on super high leverage, what's it going to give you? It's going to give you red days just like this. It's the perfect fuel for a day like today. Why? Because if this market is manipulated, like I personally do believe that it is, well, they have every way and every option to push this market downwards. Quite frankly, guys, remember, my general thesis, my conspiracy theory story here is that this market is manipulated by lizard people who want to take your crypto from you. And the easiest way to do that is to force you to sell. get you scared, use these big catalysts as disguises to induce even more fear and uncertainty in the market to get you to sell. And they're going to scoop up all of those different cryptos that you're selling. They're going to take it from you. And if they can't get you to sell it, they're going to try to liquidate you. If you have a leveraged trade, a long position that gets liquidated at $94,000, you bet your butt that market's going to come down and it's going to try to liquidate you to funnel that money or that crypto all the way back up towards those lizard people, right? And so with this in mind, this is a perfect catalyst. It's the perfect thing that they can use to try to take your crypto from you. And so you shouldn't even really be surprised. Anytime anything happens, good or bad, they use it as a disguise to manipulate this market even more. If a good catalyst comes out, the market's going to move even higher than it's naturally supposed to as a result of the fact that it allows them to liquidate even more people. And the same thing with red things. You're going to take a hack like what we saw with Bybit, and then you're going to see all of these stories and news and all this development around that hack to make it seem worse than it is. And it might be bad, don't get me wrong, but it's going to appear worse than it is no matter what happens. That's going to force people to sell, and it's going to be the perfect disguise to force liquidations to the downside. And so anytime you see this setup, you just got to be a little bit concerned. And this is what we've been talking about, right? I made a video a couple days ago, said this is a good sign. And I told you, listen, we see people buying their ones. We're seeing a shift away from meme coins. This is a good sign for the macro crypto market. But I told you, you can't get too far ahead of yourselves because while these liquidations levels are sitting so high on both sides, we might see this market start getting volatile. We might start seeing it dump, then pump, then dump, then pump. And so although we're seeing some good signals from a macro perspective, not only just in the economy actually, but in crypto in general, you can't get too high on it because while this setup is here, these lizard people are going to use it. You know, I've told you this consistently, and this is just another great example of that. There's a reason why what we have seen over the last couple months was the most successful manipulative period in history. The most successful manipulative period in history. This is liquidation history. And this shows you the sheer amount of liquidations that have happened since December, more than ever in crypto history. And there's a reason for it. Because anytime that they can have people emotional, they can have catalysts that are either good or bad, they're going to use it to move this market in ways in which will liquidate your money. And as you can see, this is what is happening. Everyone on both sides has been losing. And so with that in mind, it's not this big complex scheme. It's not anything that, you can't wrap your mind around. There's a bad thing, a bad catalyst, a bad thing that happened that's accelerated as a result of fear and uncertainty that is then used as a disguise by the lizard people to liquidate your positions. That's all that it is. Yeah, sure, some retail investors are selling, don't get me wrong, but quite frankly, most of the retail investors who are going to sell have sold already. There's not many retail investors who just got here 3-4 months ago that are still sticking around through this. No, most of them have exited the market already. And so quite frankly, this isn't a result of just retail investors selling. It's very blatantly more, just obviously much more than that in the sense that it's just a part of the way that this goes, right? And what does that come back down to? Well, I know you guys, I'm sure you're sick of hearing it by now, but it comes down to that HMZ I've been telling you about. I told you on December 20th, we're in what's called an HMZ, which is a high manipulation zone. And this is exactly what you're going to see. Pumps and dumps and fake outs, breakouts, micro pumps. But you get it, right? You get it by now. And we're still in that. And as long as Bitcoin is in this range, this is what is going to continue to happen. It's not going to stop. So stop wishing that it's going to stop, stop hoping that it's going to stop, and just start strategizing for the reality that, quite frankly, it won't stop while Bitcoin is in here, guys, okay? And so with that in mind, I really just wanted to jump on today and just show you it's not as complicated as some people are making it. It is a very simple formula of a bad catalyst mixed with fear and uncertainty to accelerate the liquidations of those high leverage traders. That's all this is. It's what happens. It's just what happens. I've seen it time and time and time again over the last 6 or 7 years, and it's going to continue to happen, okay? So that's why the market is down. That's why people are freaked out. That's why they're so worried. Now, there are some other things that are coming up this week that are worth noting, right? We talked about them in yesterday's live stream, so I'm not going to harp on them too much. But obviously this week, we do have CB consumer confidence data. We have new home sales. NVIDIA reports earnings, which is going to be big. We have January PCE inflation data. So, of course, there are these other things, and people are a little concerned about how this week is going to play out. But this isn't the main driving factor as to why the market is down today. It is quite obviously this, okay? And so with that in mind, throughout the week, I am going to kind of update you as all of these things do play out and as we do start to get some of this more news and all that good stuff released. But in the meantime, I will let you know, if you do want to stay up to date with my thoughts as they happen about all these things, feel free to go follow me on Twitter at TylerHillYT, where you will be able to get, of course, even more content, access to the things that I think are important, that I'm seeing, that I'm paying attention to, and much more. If you are new to the crypto market, I will also let you know I still do have that beginner's guide, which is available for you down below, which will kind of explain to you how all this stuff works, what crypto is, how you can get started, how you can store your crypto, a beginner investing strategy, and much more. And last but not least, if you guys do want to do some trading today, you can sign up on my link to BTCC and get a 10% bonus on all first-time deposits between $500 and $100,000. So if you want to go check that out, all of those links will be in the description down below, as well as the link to the school, which I, of course, tell you about all the time, so I'll tell you about another day. But just stay frosty right now. Look, the best thing to do in a period like this where manipulation is high and everyone's freaked out and everyone's scared and everyone's fearful is to either don't do anything or do things in small integral portions, right? What I mean by that is you could just wait this out, which is a great strategy. Or on days like today where everything is red, buy a tiny little amount of your favorite cryptos, the ones that have high value. Just buy a little bit. Just buy tiny little bids of ETH or Bitcoin or Solana Sui, whatever it may be. And whenever they start pumping, because they will eventually pump. I mean, you don't just sit with this many liquidations above you, right? If we go back to liquidation map, if you don't think this market's going to go chase down these people who are shorting this market and try to liquidate them at some point, you're delusional. We're going to have a pump at some point. The market's going to try to rally at some point. And on days like that, when the market does start pushing up, just take a little profits. Play the range a little bit. Sell on these little red days, or buy on these little red days, sell on these little green days, and just keep that same strategy going until something breaks. And eventually, when we're out of the HMZ and we're out of the high manipulation zone, then we'll kind of adjust strategy for now. But either small integral things, small little integral purchases and sales, or just nothing at all. No high leverage, none of that BS right now. It's not worth it because this is a zone in crypto right now that is built against you, and the likelihood is you're going to lose, okay? And so the best thing you can do is just sit, wait, and let it play out. And so, of course, I'll continue to keep you updated as it all does play out. But for now, that's all I'm doing, and I hope you guys did enjoy. And so with that in mind, if you guys did enjoy, please don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel down below if you are new to the channel and you have been enjoying the content. And I can't wait to see you all very soon in the next one. Peace out, everybody.